So I went back to go get a job. Well, keep in mind, before the economic crash and the September 11th and all of that, then a tech person, I mean, you walk in and you're like, yeah, which of you is going to give me 6 figures? You know, it was like you could go grab whatever job you wanted. Apparently the planet changed when I was going through this, and they're like, yeah, there's no jobs anymore. So after being told no several times and then reducing the resume and reducing the salary requirements, and I think a lot of us have gone through that lately as well, saying, you know, 10 years ago, I would have never accepted this job, but I'll beg for it now kind of thing. Then a company said, we're only hiring companies as consultants. We're not increasing our headcount. I don't know if any of you have heard that one. So I was like, great, what does it take to be a company? So I called Tallahassee. I'm like, yeah, I want to be a company. How much is that? Like, what do I need to do? So I started a company and I came back. I'm like, yeah, I'm a company now and I'd like this job, please. So that kind of, it was out of necessity, which I think most entrepreneurship is. I think very few people end up on their right path with this perfect master plan. I've never met one of them. And so from that, I started my company, had to make a living, and was blessed with some fantastic mentors along the way, and then kind of just escalated from there.
So what was the niche that you found in this arena? Was it translating technologist, translating the work?
Yeah, I think so. I think that translating definitely helped. I mean, they called it consulting back then. The Big Five, as it was, they were charging, what, $300 an hour? And I was like, oh, I'll settle for $75 an hour, which I would have like done cartwheels for, right? And they're like, oh yeah, 75, that's cheap. Sweet. So, you know, I was getting all these jobs basically underbidding the Big Five, and getting government jobs because they were watching their budgets, worked for the Port Authority, Hillsborough County Workforce, I mean, City of Miami, was willing to go or do anything that I needed to do to get those jobs, and was really careful to always come in under my bid and be really nice to people. It's amazing how much of that will take you through. And from there, I got nominated as one of Governor Bush's technology advisors.
So this was Jeb Bush?
Yes, Jeb Bush.
And he needed people to help him with translating what was going on because they were.
Yeah.
So how did you got nominated because of all the work you were doing around?
Yeah, people were seeing what I was doing, and he needed someone. He was about to run for his second term, and he was basically concerned that the taxpayers were getting fleeced on some of these big projects. You had all of these different projects through the Department of Agriculture and the Department of Education and what have you, and nothing was really getting done. And that's because the Big Five had figured out the game, as had some other bigger consulting companies. You get in there, you say a bunch of acronyms, you put in an insanely high bid, $90,000 later you increase that bid. Oh, I didn't know you wanted that. I mean, you had programmers in Tallahassee that would write code into the scripts that if they didn't get paid what they thought they were going to get paid, the program would self-destruct, and then you'd have to call them because they got to fix it. So he was basically wanting me to sort through the junk that he was being fed, and so I would sit there, and it was very intimidating because you have all of these very established people in the industry saying, oh yes, this, and this, and this will work definitely, and I have to be the lone voice that says, actually, sir, if you do this, our state's going to lose this much money, and they're completely feeding you a line right now. And you're not going to make a lot of friends in that situation, but he definitely respected me. He kept promoting me to different things. And, you know, I learned a lot about business from that perspective, but I also learned that if you sit still and quiet and are willing to just get people coffee when they ask occasionally, that you'll overhear some really great conversations that can be used later on.
So he, in that experience, there was a lot of yes people, I'm assuming.
Absolutely.
And you were one of the few people actually telling the truth of what you understood. So you became his trusted advisor when it came to a lot of the technology. Yeah,
and you know, there were other people that definitely were valuable to him, so I don't want to make it sound like I was the saving grace or anything like that, but he definitely valued my opinion, and it was because I was willing to say, no, actually, I don't think this is the right way to go, and here's why, even though 5 people that you trust are right now lying to you. And it is hard, but to put your neck on the line, first of all, be right about it. If you're not 100% sure, then don't poke that bear. But the other thing is, too, that if you are that sure and you don't speak up, then you're complacent in the lie. I mean, now companies are getting smarter and they actually have like RFQs and things, and you have to sign off and say, yes, I agree with this that's being passed around. They're getting smarter. But, you know, if you don't speak up in that situation, it doesn't have to be a government situation. It could be a client that is hearing something that, you know, you may have been invited into a meeting where they have another vendor or something like that, and you have to be the one to say, you know what, actually, I can't support this idea, and here's why.